Good evening. The Who's today were on at Randwick. Um, the track was given out good. There was drizzly rain before the first, and it hung about. There was a bit of a breeze came up from the southeast. The rain hung about for about the first 5 races, but the track stayed at a good 3. And later on the day, there was one runner that the rider said the track his mount was. I'll get to it later on. It was the track was firm. There was a bit of surface water on the, well, not surface water, grass water on all the grass in the first race. You could see it spraying back, but it obviously wasn't enough to sink through. The rail was 4 metres out, and we saw the 2-year-olds in the first race. For the fillies, and it went to a 40-to-1 chance, a good result for the captains. Opened up 17 brilliant bisque. It drew barrier 2, was able to hold the fence, and it won by 1.3 lengths. It fought on very well, trained by Moody, and it was a good result for the captains, as I say, easing from $17 out to $41. The favourite, Sugar Rush, it where to finish up running. It ran it ran about fifth position, 4/6. It ran 6, beaten 8.7 lengths. Nash it got a bit of a check at the start, and Nash said that it didn't travel at any stage. Going to the barrier, I think I might have told you this about 2-year-olds when they're shin sore. The only time you can tell sometimes whether they're shin sore or not is when you gallop them. But Nash, it didn't feel as if he was shinny going around the barrier, but in the run he thought that it felt a bit shin sore, and it will be now going for a spell. Punters who backed it, I reckon they'd feel a bit shin sore. Went up, we put it up safe odds, 2 on, $1.50. It got out to $1.70, but it did start, gee whiz, I think it might have started $1.55. It was the $1.70 was laid on, the $1.65 laid on, and the $1.60 could have been laid on as well. And as I say, it got a bit of a check at the start, but then it moved up 3 wide to the turn, but was never ever really going to win, and it dropped out in the straight. And the second pick in the race finished up running second. It came off its back, number 7, Gurliff. And it was harder. Well, it was one stage they took $6.50. It opened up $4.40, got out to $6.50, back into $5.50, and it got on the back of the favourite, and it ran on fairly well down the middle of the track, but it couldn't catch the 40-to-1 chance on the fence. And coming from about third last in the third hole was the 7-to-1 chance, $8 chance, Shahad, who got beat 3.1 lengths. The margins being 1.3 by 3.1. The winner was most probably a bit too good there, and I suppose the favourite mightn't be as good as the price suggested and the way it trialled, but the shin soreness might have been a factor. The second race, now Gay had the favourite in the first race, and she produced the first and second favourites in this race as well, War and Whittington. Whittington, the second favourite, finished up winning the race. War went straight to the front from an inside alley barrier 2 and held that position to the turn. But Whittington, who missed the kick in its trial, it came out better today. It was up near the lead all the way, 3 wide, and when they got over the rise, it was balanced up by Tommy Berry, and it went on too strongly to beat the stablemate by 3 lengths. It was a pretty good run and a pretty good win by Whittington. It seems very strong. Betting wise, we put them up. We'll go back to the first race. In the marketplace, we had a bit of purr in the first. We had 107% in the first race. I'll get to where we were in the marketplace. We're in, of course, the marquee, or a tent, a big tent up at the ledger, and I'll tell you about after the last what the story was in there. It wasn't worth a zack. Anyway, Whittington, Gay had the two picks. War went up $2.70, got out to $3, but then it was poleaxed. It was into $2.40. I was asked whatever I wanted at $2.70 at one stage. Came into $2.40, as I say, but right towards the finish, it was reached for again when the winner was back, Whittington. It got back out to $2.60 War. Whittington opened up safely at around about the $2.80-90 mark, clear second favourite. It got the bookies reached for it out to $3.70, but it did start only $3.20, hard to get at the death. Now running third in this race was a horse called I'm No Phony, and when it starts next start, there's no doubt it will start favourite and be very hard to beat. It was a very good run. As I say, it won by 3 lengths. The winner beating the stablemate, and this runner, I'm No Phony, who I did lay at $61, started at 41. It was beaten 3.2 lengths. Copped a bit of a check at the start, and it was a clear last, turning for home near the fence, easing off heels. And when he did, he went up when they were topping the rise. It was ridden by Brendan Abdallah. When he was going for a split, it closed on. He lost all of his momentum. When he got it going again, and it really found the line, got beat 3.2, as I say. If it wouldn't have got losing its all of its momentum, I don't know about even copying the check at the start and come out and been a bit closer, and not losing its momentum, this horse would have gone close to winning. It really powered to the line. But as I say, everybody in the world has seen it, and it will start favourite next time it starts. I'm No Phony, and obviously will be hard to beat. In the betting wise, it wasn't worth as I say, it wasn't worth a case. We only bet 95 or maybe 96% in the race. The next race, we saw the favourite go down here again. Ichikara, it missed the kick a bit, Ichikara. Instead of bouncing straight on the bunny, which was thought to be the case, copped a little bit of a check at the start, and then he had to hunt through. He did lead, but the second pick was on his outside all the way, your song, and it was a bit disappointing, Ichikara. It dropped out and ran fourth, beaten 2 lengths. It has been sus in the past, but I did think that it'd be able to find the bunny and most probably get away with this race, but it wasn't the case. Your Song, $4 was bet early, Your Song, and it was into $3.50 at one stage, got back out to $3.70 towards the end of betting. Destruction had a trickle of blood in its nose before it raced, but they allowed it to race, and it didn't bleed during the run, but they're going to check up on it. It was caught 3 wide all the way, Destruction. Its run could be excused, I suppose. Night Exemplar, it held on all right. It sat third on the fence behind the leader and got a split turning for home. Well, it went inside Ichikara, but then it came out towards the line, finished on the outside of that horse, but it went inside it halfway at the straight. Ichikara, as I say, ran fourth. Queen's Elect, it was back in second last position, and the winner, Jolie Bay, the horse that won the maiden very impressively after lying on the ground more or less after the start at Hawkesbury. It was able to catch Night Exemplar right on the line, and the bookies did give $11. It was taken at one stage, but it did start 10. Figures were no good. We only bet 98% here, and it wasn't much good. And if you, I found it hard to Labor favourite. It went up $1.70. There were captains who gave $1.90 for whatever you wanted, but it did start $1.85, hard to get, and I must admit I found it a bit hard to lay. I did dodge the winner by the same token. There wasn't much in it. Race 4, again, the figures weren't very good, and this runner was absolutely poleaxed. The pros had three large, beautiful plates of this winner, Moraine, and to boot, we only gave 96. 96 wasn't worth a halfpenny. It went up 2 to 1, $3 Moraine, and was quickly reached for, got out to $3.50. But then there was a stack of money for it, and it was $3.50 into $3.30 hard to get taken, $3.20 and $3.10 taken, $3 taken. Well, it was into $3, but then they said, well, how much you want at the $3? $2.90, $2.80, $2.70, and bookies wound $2.50 off towards the end of betting, and it only started $2.40. It was extremely well backed, and when it was back towards the finish, a couple of the other runners who were well in the market, which had firmed at one stage, were reached for again at the finish of betting, but they were priceless. They only wanted to know about one runner in this race, Moraine, and they were quite right and got home by the 0.2 of a length, and running third was another runner 0.6 of a length away. Going straight to the front was Herculean Prince, trained by Gay, and she had the second pick in the race, Western Symbol, who went down by a nose. Anyway, this and the winner, Moraine, it looked at Herculean Prince all the way. At one stage, they were a good 3-4 lengths in front of the rest of the field. Running third was Moores Creek, and I must admit, coming to the turn, when Moraine had got the better of Herculean Prince, Nash, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was Nash on Western Symbol. He got a card up on the back of Moores Creek around and topping the rise, and he waited and he went for Western Symbol, and I thought it was a certainty to get past it, but he couldn't, and Moraine fought on very well all the way down the straight to beat it by that 0.2 of a length, and coming from last on the fence and weaving in between runners, finding the line strongly, was Dare to Dream, who was this was the runner that was sensationally back last start at Randwick from $21 into $6.50 that day, and today it got out of the market, went up 10, stayed around that price for a long time, but it was $13 at the end of betting. Would have been a great result for the captains, and it made up plenty of ground from last, as I say, in between runners in the straight, and got beat to 0.6 for length. It wasn't much good. The figures were no good. Plus, the winner was 5 to 2 to 11 to 8. Race 5, we only gave 97 here in this field of 7. Proseer, well, it went down today. Proseer, by the second pick, proved to be, as even Nash admitted, the better stayer on the day. Now, we put it up 11 to 4 on, about $1.35 Proseer, and 9 to 2 bar it. It's a done deal, and it was quickly reached for, this favourite. There was one captain on the fence. He loves it. He loves laying an Avery. He eats them, and he lets you lay deuce on. He said, "I'll have you 2 to 1," and he got it to $1.50, and it was laid on, and the $1.45, the $1.45 was laid on, and the $1.40 was laid on, and the $1.35 was laid on. It did start at $3s on. Proseer was in a bit of an awkward position early in the race after missing the kick slightly. Proseer, it got into as I say, an awkward position down the back, but then Nash was able to get off the fence and get onto the back of Luna Rise, who was one out, one back, and coming down the side, always on Nash's back, was the second pick. It's a done deal, and he moved up and got around Nash. Nash didn't panic. He let him come around him, ridden by McDonald on the winner. It's a done deal. And when by the time they got to the top of the rise, It's a Done Deal was maybe a head in front of him, but Nash was able to get in between runners inside It's a Done Deal, and gee whiz, he when he got inside him, he got a half a length in front, and all of a sudden he put a length and a half on him in 3 or 4 bounds. Well, it did look like the race was all over, but then when they hit the 200, and then by the time they got to the 100-metre mark, unfortunately Procer was hanging out under a bit of pressure, and it kept on coming. It's a done deal, and beat it by 0.2 of a length right on the line. It was 5.2 lengths to the third horse, which was Honoris, and so the first and second had a lap on the others. As I say, bookies, one captain especially let you lay 2 on. There was plenty of, I saw $7 in the outside ring, the winner, plenty of $6.50 on the fence. The next runner didn't have a price, Lunar Rise. It went from $13, 12 to 1 out to 21. Similarly, Lunar Rise went from 15 to 1 out to 21, 20 to 1. The next runner, Laser Flash, it went from $31 to $81. Bradman went from 101 to 151. And the bottom one, King of Olympia, stablemate to the favourite, it went from 21 to 26. Not real good, but if you took on the favourite, you got the cash. Race 6. By the way, the wind today, the wind was out of the southeast. It wasn't strong enough as it turned out. I thought it might have had a little bit of effect on horses. After the first winner led on the fence, then they it got to the middle of the track. The next winner in the colts for the 2-year-olds, and then of course it came down the outside Joel Bay, and then Moraine, well, it sat outside the leader but was well off the fence, and Procera and its done deal were middle of the track, and then this runner here that I'm going to tell you now, Norwitz, well, it finished in the middle of the track. I did think the fence could have been, or the leaders, affected by the wind, and the fence might have been a bit iffy. But as we'll go on here, we'll find out that was not the case. This was one. This next race, the Flight Stakes, the mile for the fillies. It was won by Norzita, and Norzita was $7, 7 to 2, $4.60 out to $6. It started on the fence. It sat in midfield, one off the fence. When they topped the rise, they were fanning. Leading on the fence was Longport, who did a good job to stick on and run second, but it was beaten 2.5 lengths. On its outside was the second favourite, Dear Demi, who went. It was on its outside. It went from $3.50 out to $5, back into $4.60. Late Dear Demi, and then we had 3 wide coming up. This is on the turn now. We've got Norzita pulling out and coming up 3 wide, and he got around the favourite, Urban Groove, who was sensationally backed. It was in front of him at one stage, but then Urban Groove had to get to his outside turning, and it was you could see he didn't show the turn of foot that he had to, and it was beaten before they got to the top of the rise. And outside those 3, coming from off Norzita's back and pulling up with the thumps was Jade Marauder, who was well in the market as well. But anyway, as I say, it bolted in Norzita. If you run this race over again, it would be the clear favourite. Fluctuations in the race. Dear Demi went from $3.50 as I said out to $5, back to $4.60. It was always about 13, got to $14 late. Longport, Jade Marauder went up 6, might have been $7, and it came into $6.50 at one stage, back out to 7, but back into 6. Flying Schnitzel was always $21. The winner went from $4.60 to $6. Now the next runner, Urban Groove, sensationally backed. It went from $3.50 out to $3.70 into $2.80. $2.80. I laid some good wagers against it. Shea Harmony, it went from 51 out to 71. Duet, it went from $16 out to 26, back to 21, back to 26. And how would you say, Gondokoro, it went from 41 to 71, back into 61. We only gave 96% in the marketplace to the team of drunk Indians who were betting, and they weren't even having the bet. They was high-fiving each other. and I suppose well, if you gave the $6, I don't think it would have been any good. The next race we saw the Epsom run. I can't remember the Epsom Metrop, both winners leading all the way. I suppose it might have happened before, but on the same day, Epsom, this winner Fat Al, trained by Gay, and also Glen Cadam Gold, they were identical runs. Both stayed tight against the fence all the way, and both won. As I say, Epsom Metrop, both leaders, both of them led and both won. I think we'll have a look at the record books for that, whether the Epsom Metrop winners have led all the way before. There's a good chance they haven't. Anyway, Fat Al today, something in the penny pin, he didn't want to lead. He went back, and there were two runners in this race very slow to begin. They were Yosei, Mr. Kickby 3 lengths, and Mr. Kickby about 3 lengths three lengths as well. The stablemate, one of the stablemates to the winner, Kontiki Park, both came out very slow and going straight to the lead, finding the bunny, which was the place for this horse to be, instead of being crowded up or being behind a runner and happened to be wound up. It was once it found the lead, Fat Al, it was always going to be hard to beat, because it was tempo ridden to perfection by terrific Tommy Berry. He got a good clock on his head and he let it roll. Sitting second, looking at him all the way, was Rolling Pin, who, as we know, led him last start, and it finished up running third, Rolling Pin, and sitting back in fifth hole on the fence was the second horse, Ambidexter, who beat the pair of them beat Fat Al last time they met. It came off the fence, had every possible chance, and it was beaten 0.2 of a length. As I say, Fat Al led on the fence, fought on very well to beat Ambidexter, and running third was Rolling Pin, coming along the fence, getting a good run all the way from barrier 1 was Light the Night. It got beat 2.1 lengths, and after missing Secret Admirer, it ran fourth. It pulled a bit on its ride and it was held up slightly at one stage, and it ran fifth, beaten 2.3, found the line all right. But as the winner was a very good effort, and the wind was a little bit, he ran into the wind as soon as he turned home, and it was a strong win. There was a little bit of purr there for it. There were a few runners that won't go through the fluctuations that weren't liable, but there was around about at top odds about 104% on the race. We come to the Metrop, and as I said, led all the way Glen Cadam Gold went straight to the lead, and on the first bend, sitting looking at it, was the stablemate Reuben Percival, who finished up running third, beaten 4 lengths. Did bet the odds to 70 to 1 or 60 to 1 to lose 5,000 as they jumped Reuben Percival. But the winner was by a lot worse. I was cheering for Reuben Percival. Anyway, it sat second, the stablemate, and sitting third on the fence was the Verminator, and in about fifth hole was the second horse, Collini, having every possible chance. But this was a one-act affair, as they say, staying close to the fence all the way. It came home in 34, either 85 or 55, one of the two, but it broke 35 seconds for the last 600. It was travelling really well coming to the turn, and it was poleaxed in the betting ring. We put it up a 9 to 4 chance, about $3.20. Myself and quite a few other captains reached for it, out to $3.50. We paid the penalty. At one stage, it was into $2.90, hard to get. Like a nice goose, I was $3.20 when they jumped, and still laying it. and had a very bad result on the race. It won by a mere 3 3/4 lengths. I wish they'd run this race again. This horse has obviously improved a lot since its Newcastle win, because I thought it wasn't very impressive at Newcastle, but Gay most probably has bigger things in mind for this horse. I suppose it'll go to Melbourne now, and it's most probably going to keep on improving. What else do you say about the race? Lamasery, the second favourite, it opened up $4.40, got to $5, back into $4.60. It got a charm run midfield on the fence, and before the turn, excuse me, it was under pressure, and you look back in the field, and when they got to home, when he got clear on the winner, you look back and you can see there was nothing coming, and even the judge reached for number 6, and he slid it, and as they hit the line, he already had it in the frame. We came to the last, and this wasn't the case with this favourite, Rain Affair. It went a bit disappointingly. Maybe it's just an out-and-out wet track of this horse. It went straight to the lead. It went straight to the lead, as I say, and coming to the turn, it was a good 2.5, maybe 3 lengths clear. They topped the rise and they started to come at it fairly quickly. And after they got over the rise, when Corey unfortunately had to pull the shillelagh and give it one, you knew you were in trouble. And it was gone as quick as it was gone into stride. And it ran third last. It was only beaten 3.2 lengths, or yes, it was. But by the same token, this horse is not showing the fight that it did when it won quite a few on end last campaign. And but if it finds a wet track, it might improve out of sight. Anyway, winning the race was a. We'll go back to the Metrop. Go back to the Metrop. In the Metrop, figure-wise, it was skinny. We only had 100. And come the last race, exactly the same. We had a neat 100. We had a neat 100 in the last race as well. I was $3 when they jumped the winner. That was the best price given, Rain Affair. It went up 5 to 4, 225. It was reached for all the way through betting, and they did take $2.90 off you. I laid it at $2.90, but I went $3 towards the end of betting, and it started that price on my board. And the number 2 renewed vitality, it was 80s out to 100s back into 70s. Hurtle Myrtle, it was always $21. Now that we get to the winner, Red Tracer, who copped a bit of a check after they'd gone a couple of furlongs. I forget who by, but whoever checked it copped a bit of a holiday. And Red Tracer, but he copped a check, but he got into a lovely position, ridden by Nash, Red Tracer. It went up $7. There was one captain who kept on reaching for it. I couldn't believe it was $8 just not too long before they jumped. And it still started, believe it or not, I can't believe it, it did start $7.50 on his board when they jumped. And I think it'll be returned short in that, but I was looking at $7.50 when they jumped, Red Tracer. Streamer, it was started second favourite, extremely well backed. It went up $4.40, got to $4.80, into $4.20 at one stage, but back to $4.48. Pear Tart laid some good bets against Pear Tart, laid 11 monkeys, plus another bet to lose 5. It was $10 out to $13, back into $11, or it might have even started a little bit longer than that. Satin Shoes, it went from $10 or $11 even, opened out to 12, taken towards the end of betting. You might have been still able to get 12, but it might have been a bit hard to get. 40 to 1 was given about Shannara, it only started 31. Ever the Same was $16 or $17 out to 21, back into about an $18 chance. The Emotional Circus went from $17 out to 21. As I say, there was only about 100 on the board, and the winner was extremely well backed, even though it did start $7.50 on one captain's board. He might have had a big book but I thought it was labelled at one stage at 750. I did see 8 on a couple of boards. It sat in 5th position, and he was on the back of the second horse, Satin Shoes. Got into second hole, turning for home, chasing the leader. Nash was looking at Satin Shoes, ridden by Jimmy all the way, and he peeled off its back, and he went on and won by a length from Satin Shoes. And coming from last, in between runners, and a slight check when they topped the rise, was Emotional Circus. It made up plenty of ground, which it always does, and it got into third hole, only beaten 1.2 lengths, found the line better than any other runner, as I said, which it generally does. Streamer, it was in between runners, and it had it was second up today. It's looking for a lot longer. Streamer. Apparently, it was extremely well backed, so it must have been well fancied, but it had every possible chance. The winner was a bit too good. That's about all I'd say there. As I said, I don't think there's any bias on the track. We've had some Metrop 2 winners. The winners were on the fence, tied up against it, and maybe if they were off the fence, they might have won easier, or they didn't. Anyway, well, that was the story there. Today we were in the big marquee up at the Ledger. And there wasn't a halfpenny there. There wasn't a halfpenny in the joint. The bookies had just led, and down in the, you see that when the runners go past the winning post and they show the inside shot, and you look at the members, they were like sardines down there. A lot of the captains had agencies on the rails down in the members area, so I hope it was a fill up down there, boys. But as I said last time, and I can't find anyone to disagree with me. I can't work it out. I thought the marketplace bookies, which we are, and all the rails bookies, they should be down in the members areas and have their agencies up dealing with the drunk Indians up in the tent where we were. Like it's just an absolute myth. All they do, they get there and we could make more money selling beer than taking bets off them. That's easy to work out that scenario. But all they do is give high fives, and when they do have a bet, it takes them 5 minutes to have a bet, and there's only 40 minutes in between races, so you don't get too many bets in. It's just a big party, a big pub it is. With a lot of drunks there in a tent. It's an absolute joke. Well, anyway, what you say falls on deaf ears. They don't understand the people who they should be bookies. Well, some bookies don't understand either, but they should be bookies, but there's a chance they might realise what the situation is when it comes to surviving in this game. Where we were, it was useless. Anyway, Hawkesbury's on tomorrow. If you want to open an account, all you got to do is give me a ring, and I'll organise it for you. Have some luck over the rest of the weekend. Good evening.